This episode is brought to you by www.employeeescapeplan.com. And Joe Nicasio is an amazing business coach and mentor, and he helps people literally transform their business, their stuck, stopped, stalled businesses, and helps them get back on track, helps them with the fundamentals, the principles, and with a framework to be able to succeed. And he's worked with, I want to say, over 800 business owners, invested 25,000 hours into his own business experience, worked with the greats like Jay Abraham, studied under him, got mentored by him. He's worked with Les Brown, coached Les Brown on his marketing, his business strategy. So Joe Nicasio is a guy I highly recommend, and I highly encourage you to go to his website, check him out, schedule a conversation with him, and see what he can do for you. See what you might be stopped by, see what blind spots you might have in your business, and what you could really take to the next level to succeed. www.employeeescapeplan.com, and let Joe know Chris sent you. Now, for this hour, we're talking about emotional mastery, cultivating your internal environment of peace, abundance, and faith. Man, what a journey. What a journey. I'm starting this thing off with some contrast, right? With some contrast. And for everyone out there listening, stories are such a great way to educate people, to get people involved, to relate to people. So my journey, my story, you want to talk about emotional mastery. Let's talk about what emotional mastery is not. Emotional mastery is not Chris Burns, age 17, sitting in my room, playing video games, having a blast, what I thought was a blast, playing Call of Duty, shooting people in the face, talking trash, being this righteous jerk, this kid who knew better than everyone else, who was smarter than everyone else, this person who was really unhappy with life. Even though on the surface I said I had it all together, deep down inside I was feeling really ashamed of who I was. I was making bad decisions. I had a lot of decisions growing up as a kid of, just not being in integrity at the highest level to who I knew I could be, and not being as honest as I would like to be, or forthright, forward. And I was going through this period of time in my life where I would lash out at people around me, especially my parents. I'd be rude to them. I'd disconnect. My lashing out, my way of getting back at my parents was disconnecting from them, was hiding from them, was running away, was going places in my car where they had no access to me, was going on trips, was going on, places without really telling them, without communicating, going and staying over at people's houses, staying the night without communicating with them. Well, I'm still living at their house, right? 17 years old. And along this process, something that they wanted my sister and I to have was to go on vacations. And every vacation that they wanted my sister and I to go on, I don't know about my sister, I can't really remember that, but for me personally, I knew that I didn't want to be there. I would much rather be playing video games at home in the comfort of my room. And I started seeing that I was unhappy, but I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't know how to express it. But I did start taking it out on the people and things around me. I'd start punching things. I'd hurt people, hurt animals, whatever it might be, like just be rude, right? I'm not proud of this stuff about myself, but it's not who I am today. So I can look at it with perspective, with wisdom. And how many of you have made choices that you don't appreciate, you don't want to remember, you don't want to be that person anymore? Well, here's the good news. The good news is that you are not that person. The bad news is you have to clean up whatever is still there about those emotions, hence why we're talking about emotional mastery today, to be able to experience more peace, freedom, and love and faith and connection and abundance and all these things that you really want. You have to clean it up. You have to go back to those places, back to those memories, dive in deep and forgive yourself and clean it up. So I was in this period of time in my life and really suffering and not happy. So, it probably would have been more beneficial to share where I'm at today in how I approach life and then the contrast. But, that's really where I was back then. And for those of you who know me today, then I'm not that person who's super resentful or miserable or complaining or whatever, or guilty or ashamed or whatever. I'm pretty bold, audacious leader, if I do say so myself. Connected, loving, grateful, etc. And, that's really who I created myself to be over the last about 10 years or so. Is I've committed that who I am is this person who's grateful, who's overflowing with gratitude, who's present, who's able to listen well, who's connected, who is loving, who's accepting, who's forgiving, successful, abundant, wise. Like, these are all things that I want to be. And so it's taken a lot of diving in deep, like I was talking about, to be able to get to this place. So wherever you're at on your journey, trust that you're at the perfect place. Trust that if things aren't how you'd really, really like them to be, or you're suffering and life is practically hell for you, it's okay. You're okay. You're still alive. And first off, get help. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, struggling with, challenged by, get help. You're not in this alone. There's 7.5 billion other people on this planet. I'm sure some of them have gone through situations like yours, as bad as yours, and even worse than yours. So get the help that you need. Find the support that you need. That's a huge part of emotional mastery. If you want to master your emotions, first off, know that you're not on your own. You have to keep everything bottled up and stuck inside of you. Know that there's people around you who can help. There's people online. There's people on social media, networks, etc., that can make a difference for you. So remember that. But I wanted to share my definition of emotional mastery. And still a work in progress, still massaging it. But my definition of emotional mastery is being able to show up in any capacity, any way of being that you desire at any given moment in time. And not only that, just choosing to turn the light switch on, but be able to keep it on for as long as you want. Or as long as makes sense, as long as, is, I don't want to say reasonable, because that's, reasonable, what is reasonable? But emotional mastery, and mastery, by the way, it's a constant state forever. It's a continual evolution and journey. There is no quote-unquote mastery, mountaintop, I've reached it, finally. No, it's a constant journey. So being able to endure that emotion, keep that emotion constant. Emotional mastery, for me, is being grateful 24/7, right? When I'm grateful 24/7, my life transforms. But as soon as I take the focus off of gratitude and put it on something else, then results aren't so hot. So that's an example of emotional gratitude, emotional mastery. Gratitude, emotional mastery on here, on this 12-hour marathon. I'm able to maintain my high energy because I've stretched that muscle of showing up and continuing to show up and continuing to push myself beyond my comfortable boundaries, to use my vision to pull myself forward. I'm able to be here right now because I've developed those things. So are you tied in to your vision? Emotional mastery. If you want to gain that emotional mastery, and just to recap again, emotional mastery is being able to feel in full depth whatever emotion you want, be able to turn it on at will, and not be controlled by your bodily emotions, sensations, thoughts. That's emotional mastery. And be able to feel it for however long you want. Choosing when to start it, when to stop it, for however long you want. And, really another big part of that is range. When you have this range of emotions, then you can really start feeling fully. A lot of people For example, if you live on a spectrum of 0 to 10, a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being absolutely miserable, about to die, 10 being complete ecstasy, about to transcend reality, okay? Most people live on the scale of probably 2 to 6, right? 2 being like some days are really, really crappy, and 6 is, some days are pretty darn good, right? Most people lie in between that spectrum of mediocre, slightly below average, but, mediocre, I'm doing okay, I'm doing fine. Some people plus or minus, and that scale might be not super accurate, might be 3 to 7, might be 4 to 8, whatever, right? But on average, there's a certain tolerance of where people are at in their emotions. And most people stay in that range because when someone drops below a 2, for example, say it's 2 to 6, if someone drops below a 2 on the emotional scale of well-being and they feel like a 1 or a 0, whatever, and they're absolutely miserable, thinking about committing suicide, depressed, usually people around them will show up to be able to uplift them, to empower them, to give them energy, to really feed them fuel of joy and positivity of, hey, it ain't so bad. Hey, look on the bright side. Well, just be grateful you're still alive, that kind of stuff. People are so good at feeding that to people who are in need of it, people who are suffering, people who are stuck, because we don't like seeing people who are miserable. We don't like seeing people who are really suffering. It's against our human nature to see someone absolutely in pain and watch them and not do anything, not feel anything about it. We're empathetic creatures, right? Because people are a reflection of ourselves. Other people are a reflection of you. What you notice in other people, things that you really like, that's a reflection of you. What you notice in other people, things that you really dislike, that's a reflection of you. So how are you showing up in your spectrum? So we talked about the smaller, lower end of the spectrum. People, we want to make sure people are not so terrible that they're about to die, because we don't like seeing people die. We don't want people to be miserable. But on the other hand of the scale, on the spectrum, let's say you're a 6 most days, and you're like, yeah, life's awesome. And you know what? You stretch a little bit. You expand your range a little bit. You show up at work, at your job, in a meeting, whatever. There's a lot of other people around you, community. There's a lot of other people around you who are on average a 4 or a 5. Say you show up as a 7 or an 8, and you really stretch. God forbid 9 or 10, having the best day ever, best life ever. But let's say it was 7 or 8. You're stretching. Those people who are feeling like a 3 or a 4, who are like, like life's like okay, could be better. Probably not. Kind of sucks actually. Yeah. Those people like that, they see you, and you're like, man, today's a great day. I'm so excited. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? Those people who are at that lower scale see that person who's all excited, and they're like, what are you on? What are you smoking? What drugs are you on? What's got you so excited? Man, why are you like that? Screw you. Get your positive, over enthusiastic energy out of here. We don't want that around here. Like you're faking it. You're a faker. Oh man. Which perpetuates the culture of people not being able to be fully self-expressed. Either way, it's wrong to feel negative emotions. It's wrong. Not, hey, let's process these together. Let's figure out what's at the bottom of this. Let's like put our heads together and really join forces and heal this trauma that's causing this pain when you're at the 0 to 2. There's not that mentality. There's the mentality of, hey, get back to 4. Like, stop being so depressed. Like, here, like, I want to make sure you're okay. It's nurturing energy, but it's not. It's like Band-Aid stuff. It's fixing the scratch on the surface versus the deep, festering wound inside someone's soul, their heart, whatever. And on the other end of the spectrum, people are not allowed to be fully self-expressed and joyous and stoked on life at a level 10, because if that's happening and someone's, running through the street and they're so excited, there's going to be people who are like, that's too far out of their spectrum. That's too far out of their range of emotions, of possibility, that they could have that too. So what do? Something that's different. Anything that's different, people are afraid of. Anything that's different, people stay away from. They can resent it. So a lot of people tend to resent someone being fully self-expressed in a level 10 on the happiness scale and having the best day ever. Now, here's the thing. If you are... Cut all those people out. That's right. Curtis just commented that. That's beautiful, man. Cut them out. Chop out that negativity. If you're someone who's committed like me to really cultivating an environment of success, of successful people, of encouraging people, of inspirational people, I don't have many people in my life who are like a level 4, and they see me at level 10, and they're like trying to cut me down. I do see people who are like a level 6, 7, who are like, you're a little too big. You're taking away the energy from the other leader. I usually am big in like seminar rooms and level 10, and that comes from a certain place as well, so we're not going to go there. But I can show up as a level 10 around the people around me in my joy and my happiness, because the people around me appreciate that. They value self-expression. They value freedom. They value feeling good. They value growth. They value stretching the limits, challenging ourselves, being our greatest possible self. The people around me value that stuff, which is why I love the people who I hang out with. I love the people who I get to bring on the show. I love who I'm around. And if I'm an average of the 5 people I'm around most, I wouldn't say there's really a whole lot of 5 people who I'm around most. Who I am around is a lot of people who have very inspirational mindsets and ideas and empower me. So I'm super grateful for that. So just know that there's a range. And I was talking about it earlier. We're talking about frequency because I think this is an important part. Because let's dive into the scientifics of this. And I'm no science expert. I have an electrical engineering degree, which really helps me conceptualize this stuff and share it with you in a way that hopefully makes a difference. And I'm able to understand it and jive with it and resonate with it. But let's say if you are feeling a certain emotion, an emotion like anger has a very low vibration, a very low frequency. What is frequency? Well, frequency, if you have a frequency of 1 hertz, 1 hertz is 1 cycle, okay? So the time it takes one cycle to happen is usually, let's say, 1 second. 1 hertz is 1 second. So the time it takes to go from starting, because we're talking about waves, right? Everything is waves in this universe. Everything is waves. Electricity is in waves. You think about like a AC motor. It like goes up and down and up and down and up and down. AC current goes up and down and up and down and up and down. Okay, so we're thinking about frequency, right? Frequency goes up and down and back up. Okay, so imagine it's like almost like a S, but it's turned sideways. Okay, so it starts and it goes up and then down. So there's a horizontal line. You start at the horizontal line. You go above the horizontal line, and you do a curve up, across, back down. Okay, up and down, and then you go below the horizontal line, and you keep going across, and you go back up. As you move from left to right, your time is increasing. So the time it takes for 1 second, you'll have a half that goes up on the top, that's a half second, and then a half that goes down on the bottom, that's another half second. So if you have 2 halves that take a half second, what do you have? You have 1 second, 1 whole second, okay? So we're talking about frequency. This is literally when we're feeling emotions, when we're feeling energy, when we're feeling certain things, there is a frequency to it. Now, 1 hertz is just a standard. 1 hertz is just an example of a frequency. When we have anger, it's a very low frequency. I don't know what the specific number is, but let's say it's 100 hertz, 100 cycles per second. So instead of 1 second taking 1 complete cycle to go up, down through the line, and back up and meet that same line, the same horizontal line, because you go up, you're starting at the line, you don't touch the line again until you go back down and you cross over the line, then you come back up, you hit the line again. That's 1 hertz. 100 hertz would be how many times? It'd be 100 times it goes up and down in 1 second. Okay? So anger goes up and down, for example. I'm not saying specific numbers, but anger, for example, goes 100 hertz in a second. It goes up and down 100 times in 1 second. Instead of just once in 1 second, it could be, 10 hertz, which would go up and down 10 times. It would hit that line twice for every cycle, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. For everyone out there listening on the podcast, I'm doing lots of stuff with my fingers, so hopefully you're able to follow along. So we're talking about hertz. Anger is a very low frequency, okay? Anger, depression, death. Death is zero, right? Death is zero energy. There's zero energy, zero life force, like pumping through our body, right? It's all leaving at this point. And in truth, the universe is run on energy, right? The universe is run on frequency. We got string theory. We got all kinds of amazing stuff, and I'm not even going to go there because I hardly understand it. But what I do understand is when you're feeling these feelings, let's say you're at 100 hertz with anger, and you jump up to 1,000, 10,000 for joy and love, something like that, right? So you're going to have a lot higher of a frequency. It's very much more intense. That's why people who are depressed and lethargic and about to die are very low energy. They move slow. They don't do much. But people who are joyous and alive and in love with life, level 10 excitement, they're super energized and they're super fired up, okay? So that place of joy and love with this super high frequency is where we want to be, because that's where all the magic happens. When we are at a low frequency, 0, 100, whatever, hertz, we attract that frequency. What happens is we're sending out signals based on our thoughts, based on our heart, based on our body, and all the emotions that we're feeling. We're a sending and receiving station of signals. Go read Napoleon Hill. I'm probably going to be reading it next week, so come back, 10 a.m. Think and Grow Rich. So we're sending and receiving station of signals. And I'm so getting into the science of this. I love it. I love discussing this kind of stuff. Sending and receiving station of signals. So we're sending out broadcasts to the universe, and we're also receiving broadcasts to the universe. And when we send out negative energy, negative feelings, we attract more of that stuff back to our life. When we have negative feelings, our body becomes negatively charged, and we attract more of that stuff. Not only do we become charged, we also send it out into the universe, and that stuff brings it back to us. We bring back that energy to us. Okay? Versus, on the other hand, if we're grateful and excited and delighted and happy and joyous and in love, we are a positively charged. I like the term negative. There is no real negative. It's either nothing, no energy, or very low energy, which is like death and depression and stuff like that. Very high energy, on the other hand, is joy and love and all that kind of stuff. So there is no quote-unquote negative energy. It's just zero, low energy, or high energy, okay? So with this process, we're talking about emotional mastery. And I wanted to share with you this stuff because emotions are emitting signals. The energy that we're feeling, the emotions that we're feeling are emitting signals. And when I was back in my room playing these video games, I had a lot of anger, I had a lot of frustration, a lot of guilt, shame, etc. that was attracting more of that into my life. And it wasn't until I started hanging out with different people, having different thoughts, that I was able to start shifting my energy, start shifting my thoughts, which had me choose to feel different ways. Because when I shift my thoughts, I can be aware of how am I feeling. Oh man, I'm feeling like crap. Okay, what could I do to take a step in the opposite direction? If I feel like a 1 or a 2, what can I do to take a step towards being a 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8? What can I do to take a step? Don't necessarily have to be there instantly, although when you have emotional mastery, you can really effectively turn on and off emotions or feel fully a negative, disempowering emotion and just be like, embrace the heck out of it, and then immediately jump back over to the positive side of the spectrum because you've gotten to this point of processing things rather than holding on to them. A lot of people hold on to their emotions and suffer because of it. And it's so important to be able to process your emotions and feel them fully, allow them to release them, let them go, let go of the memory, let go of the meaning, and just fall back in love with life and be grateful for what you do have. So that's a critical piece of this emotional mastery. Okay? So I really wanted to share with you that there is a place that you can get to in life where you have a great grasp on your emotions, where you feel like you're in control, where you feel like most days, 99% of days, are great. Most days are amazing. And of course, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be difficulties, there's going to be life events. Life will throw stuff at you that will totally knock you off your track. But it's critical to have forgiveness for yourself when that happens and not wallow in the shame, the regret, the remorse, the stuff that doesn't serve you. Mourn someone's loss. If someone died and they're really close to you and you didn't feel like you got the full experience of life with them, they 17, 18 years old and they died, mourn their loss. Mourn their loss. Be sad. Process that. But don't hang on to it and turn that sadness into guilt, into shame, into resentment that, they died so early. How could they do that to me? Mourn their loss and then choose to use that as a way to accelerate you in your life. Man, my little brother died at 17 years old last year, and it's been tough. But what I've really learned is to move forward, keep moving forward, in spite of all difficulties and all odds, and live a full freaking life, because that's what he would have wanted. Boom. Transmuted that, right? Emotional mastery is learning how to transmute something, an emotion, a feeling that doesn't work for you into something better. So you might be stuck at this spectrum, lower spectrum of 0 to 2, whatever, or maybe you're constantly at a 4 or 5, 6, and you just like, hey, I want emotional mastery, baby. Okay, we'll start dialing in your habits to create that emotional mastery. How are you constantly pushing up against your limits to get to a higher level, to get to a 7, 8, or 9, or 10 consistently? How are you challenging yourself? How are you stretching yourself to do that? To be able to have peace. Like peace, you think, oh, well, I have peace. I just let go. I just don't care. I just peace, right? Peace out. When people think peace, they think peace out. They think disconnect. They think numb out. A lot of people use drugs and stuff to experience temporary peace, but really it's numbness. A lot of drugs just numb people. So that peace, how do you get to peace? Well, you have to stretch yourself first to get out of your comfort zone of what's your comfort zone, what's your unconscious, subconscious patterns, being miserable, being righteous, being jealous, being envious, living in a world of scarcity. These are all subconscious patterns for a lot of people. So it's like programmed into you to stay at that 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever your number is, right? You're like programmed to be there. So how do you get to the other side of the spectrum? How do you start getting that emotional mastery? It's to start purposefully, intentionally engineering experiences, environments, opportunities, circumstances that have you be at the level 10. For me, what I found really works, going to seminars. When I'm at a seminar, I'm a level freaking 10. I play all out, full out, every single day from the start of the place, start of the event to the very end, to the very night, to the last night. The moment I see the hotel, the moment I start driving to this seminar, or even the moment I make the commitment to be at the seminar, or the morning of, whatever, right? I made a commitment that I'm playing full out. And then by the last night, I'm still playing full out after people are leaving, after the seminar has ended. I'm negotiating. I'm networking. I'm building connections, connecting with people, and that's so powerful. It's so profound for me because I made the commitment that I'm playing full out. I'm a level 10, and it makes a big difference. Those people who I network with after, some of those people have turned into clients. Some of those people have really changed my life and come into my life in a big way. So that emotional mastery, how do you get to that level 10? Start journaling, okay? If you're not journaling, if you're not writing out your gratitude, if you're not looking in the mirror and practicing saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, feeling it fully, emotional mastery, you might feel that when you have been programmed your entire life or most of your life and you're still finding it difficult, maybe you've been doing this for a while, maybe it's just the beginning for you, you're still finding it difficult to, you live at like a 6, 5, 6, most days are pretty good. You find it difficult to really embody a level 10 excitement, joy, love, energy. You might find it difficult to do that, and you might feel it's a little bit fake. You might feel it's a little bit inauthentic. You might feel that, I don't really like doing this. It's uncomfortable, okay? You're going to have those feelings. Embrace it. And know that your emotion is like the purest thing that you can experience, right? Emotions and the signals that your body sends you are so pure. Your body is such a great instrument to give you feedback, to let you know if you're on track or off track. But here's the thing. When you experience your body saying, "Ooh, I don't like this. I don't like this." It's sending signals to your brain saying this is inauthentic, it's not real, it's fake, you're a liar, you're manipulating, SOB, stop it, give up now, just go back to what you were doing. That's because your body's been conditioned chemically to respond a certain way to life and to respond a certain way to the phrase, "I love you." Okay? When you think of "I love you," you might have memories pop up in your mind of your mom telling you that she loves you and everything's going to be okay and life was amazing and juicy and peachy and amazing, right? You might also have memories of someone saying "I love you," dad, mom, whatever, sister. And as soon as they said that, that meant they were about to leave. That meant they were about to go on not vacation, but they're about to walk out, right? Dad says, I love you, Chris, but I got to go. And then he leaves for weeks, months, years at a time, and then shows up randomly back in your life. So you could make love mean that life is unpredictable and you have no idea what's going to happen, okay? So mastering your emotions is so critical to be aware, number one, where are you on the spectrum? Are you stretching yourself into this uncomfortable zone of a level 10 life, full self-expression, full love, like, I love me, right? I freaking love me, right? A lot of people might not feel like they resonate with what I just did right there. Why? Because they aren't there. They're not feeling that. They're not alive at that level. They don't see that as a possibility. I was working with Joe Nicasio, for example. Joe Nicasio. Joe coaches me a lot on business. I've coached him a lot on emotions and feeling things. And something I constantly had to challenge him to do was to experience more, feel more fully. He knew where he stood, but a lot of in his mind, feeling and having feelings was dangerous, was scary for him, meant trouble, meant things were going wrong, or, last time he shared with people, last time he was vulnerable, last time he opened up, last time he loved, he got hurt. So he was really stubborn about feeling these emotions fully and declaring, like I just did, I love my life. A lot of his patterns were completely the opposite programming to have him be able to share that and declare that with full confidence, authenticity, and just being himself. He wasn't able to do it. And a lot of times, we spent a lot of time empowering him to be able to do that. So, 1, don't give up. 2, find people around you who are going to stretch you and empower you to be your greatest possible self. Love life even more and just step up to the plate, okay? And I just want to share, like, if you want more peace, abundance, and faith, these things they might cause you to stretch. You might need a stretch to be able to experience these things. We were talking about peace earlier. How do you get to peace? Well, first off, you got to learn how to forgive yourself. You got to learn how to just be, not turn off, not numb out from the world, but process the emotions that you've been feeling, that you've been stuck with, or not feeling, resisting feeling, that you've been stuck with, that you've been hiding, that you've been burying deep down inside, self-sabotaging yourself. Oh my gosh, talk about that for days. But really, it's the peace that you're seeking. How you get there is through adversity. The obstacle is the way. Ryan Holiday wrote a great book, The Obstacle is the Way. It's through the adversity, it's through the challenge that really will transform your relationship with whatever's been stopping you, your block, whatever. Confront it, be courageous, have that charisma, and you'll get there. Peace is here. Peace is for you if you choose to simply seek it, be it, and live it. It's for you. So we talked about peace, faith, and abundance. Okay, so these are 2 things I'm going to share with you guys authentically, guys and ladies. I'm sharing with you 100% authentically. I'm taking on faith. I've really been working. I've done a lot of work on, and I think I've gotten to a really great place with it. And I've a lot of faith that things will work out in the long run. A lot of faith. As long as I just keep taking the steps, it's all going to work out. How do you think I did 36 marathons, right? 36 marathons so far. A lot of faith. A lot of faith that even when it doesn't seem like it's working, just keep going. Keep planting those seeds. So faith is something I've really been developing, and I don't think we're going to have too much time to get into it today, but abundance is something that, ladies and gentlemen, I have struggled with. I've struggled to see and recognize the abundant world that I live in and continually be present to that, present to the abundance, present to the opportunities, present to the amount of money that is available to me, the amount of money that's available to other people, the resources that are available in this world, and ultimately the resourcefulness that we can all apply to experience that. I've had challenges myself around money, around feeling like there's enough. I've had challenges to ask my clients even, or potential clients, to buy a certain amount of coaching, a certain dollar value of coaching. I've been challenged by that. I'm human, and I'm grateful for it because it's teaching me something. There's some kind of lesson of abundance that I'm learning through this process of struggle, of being challenged, of this feeling of not enough. So one thing that I'm doing to really dive into abundance is kind of a roundabout way, but I didn't prioritize abundance, although I've been focused on it for a while. I've known I have lived in a scarcity kind of mindset for a long time. And a lot of people live in scarcity and survival most of the time. There's nothing wrong with it. Just what do you choose? What do you prefer? So this Sunday, I recognized in my life that I've been stimulated by external things for a lot of my life. I recognize that I've been stimulated by my phone, been stimulated by seminars. I've been stimulated by answers outside of me. I've been stimulated by substances, whatever it might be, right? Like I've just been stimulated by porn, family, seeking approval from others, coaching, right? Being acknowledged in coaching. It's been stimulated by being admired on stage. I've been stimulated by a lot of things externally. And one of the things that I'm committed to doing is learning how to create stimulation for my soul from within, to feed my soul, to give my soul nourishment and juice and power from within so that I don't have to keep searching for it outside. I believe I have been seeking and searching for an answer, the one thing that's going to make the difference in my business, in my coaching, in the impact that I have on people's lives. I've been looking for this one thing outside of myself, the next program, the next technique, the next strategy, the next marathon I do, the next email, the next client I get. And I'm tired of living on that hamster wheel. Tired of being in the rat race of where is it going to come from? I have to be aware. I have to be, it's not aware, but I'm lusting. I'm searching. I'm exhausted from looking for this solution that is supposed to freaking come to me by now. Where is it? God, universe, source, creator, where the F is my solution to abundance? Where is it? And so I'm done. I'm done playing that game because I believe it's been programmed into us from birth, depending on the family that you live in, etc., media, school, all that good stuff. I'm done playing that game. And the game that I'm playing is to find nourishment and faith and trust and peace and abundance within myself. And I'm doing that this Sunday by going without a phone or technology and going to go somewhere in Southern California Sunday, probably leave around 7 or 8 a.m., get out there and just relax and meditate and go within, do breathing exercises, not turn on my phone, not look at anything, and just be there and be present and just like zen out, right? You want to talk about zenning out? I'm going to zen out and disconnect from this external stimuli and go in, go within, listen inward. Listen to the emotions that come up. Listen to the thoughts that come up. Listen to the thoughts from God, from source, from spirit, from creator, whatever. I'm going to listen because who I'm showing up as is someone who listens. And I'm a great listener in a lot of different ways, but at the same time, I'm not listening. I never have been. I never will, right? That's something that Landmark teaches. If you haven't taken Landmark, definitely check it out. So powerful. But like in some aspects, I'm always looking through my own filter, my own perspective of the world. So I'm not really listening to what people are saying because it's my own perspective. And I'm not listening. I never will. I never have been. And I never will. Never have been because I've always had this perspective, these lenses, and I always will. I never will because I will always have a perspective, a viewpoint through which I listen to people. There's a filter. There's a impurity in the listening quality because of that. So just want to kind of address everything that we covered in here. It was awesome. I noticed about the contrast in my emotional mastery from living kind of in scarcity and fear, being righteous, resenting my parents when I was locked up playing video games in my room. I didn't want to have anything to do with my parents. After that, I went into this kind of party phase and looked for that external stimulation outside of myself, and that just really didn't serve me. I continued working on myself, growing myself, and I started to become the person who you see today, who's able to be grateful and be happy and be joyous. And like level 10, my commitment is to constantly be at a level 10 energy. And not constantly, because I mean there's certain times where it's like life's going to happen, it's going to derail me, but always to get back to that place of loving, peace, harmony, trust, faith, all that good stuff. So level 10, that's the commitment. How do you get there? By continuing to stretch yourself, by continuing to expand your emotions. If you're at a level 4, level 5, like, life's okay. Expand, stretch, challenge yourself to feel fully. We talked about Joe, how he was challenged with his emotions because he'd been hurt or wounded, whatever. He didn't feel like it was safe. And it's just been this constant process of inviting people to step up, inviting our souls to experience more joy, inviting our bodies to process more joy, more love, more ecstasy, more expansion. Invite our bodies to take that on. And even if it feels weird, even if it feels inauthentic, trust that you're on the right path because it's coming from me, it's coming from lots of other successful people to share what it took to get there. And a lot of it is feeling those great emotions, being positive, being enthusiastic, and loving life. Okay? And then last, just really have a lot of patience with yourself as you dive into peace, as you dive into abundance, as you dive into faith. And if you have any questions, absolutely 100%, feel free to contact me, Chris Burns, facebook.com/th3burns. Send me a message. Visit our website, beyourgps.com. And if you want a strategy session, if you'd like to know how to master your own emotions, send me a message or go to beyourgps.com/strategy session.